Do you dare to step into what's known as China's most terrifying forbidden zone? FengMen Village, a village from the Ming and Qing dynasties that was once the wind-welcoming gate, has now become a gate-closed gate filled with death. People still pass down a chilling poem. In FengMen Village, the gates are locked and bolted. Men cannot marry, women cannot bear children. There are skeletons in the ditches, and ghosts haunt the bends. From coffins that mysteriously disappear to a cursed armchair that causes demonic faces to appear in photographs, what horrifying truths are hidden behind these abandoned houses? Let's open the door and step into this village of death right now. The ancient origins and the chilling curse of the closed-gate FengMen village is nestled deep within the vast landscapes of China, a nation where ancient civilizations often leave behind layers of mystery and forbidden zones that few dare to enter. Known as one of the oldest and most traditional settlements, the village features architecture dating back to the Ming and Qing dynasties, characterized by stone houses that have stood for hundreds of years. Originally, the name FengMen meant wind gate, symbolizing a village with open doors to catch the mountain breezes. However, as terrifying legends grew and the population vanished, the meaning shifted to a much darker interpretation: closed gate, signifying a place where the entrance is forever sealed to the living. The village's eerie reputation is encapsulated in a haunting local poem that warns, "FengMen Village, the doors are locked and the latches are barred. Men cannot take wives, and women cannot give birth." The verses further describe skeletons lying in the ditches and ghosts lurking at every bend of the mountain paths. This death kai, or negative energy, has transformed a once thriving historical site into a place of T-1 kai, deadly aura. The ancient houses, scattered across the valley, now serve as decaying monuments to these dark rumors. For many, the village represents a gateway to the supernatural, where the transition from wind gate to closed gate reflects its transition from a home for the living to a sanctuary for the dead, forever shrouded in a veil of silence and mystery. The Lost Expedition and the phenomenon of bloody scratches, one of the most famous modern accounts of FengMen, involves an expedition team exploring the Shenong mountain range. Although the team was familiar with the area, they decided to take an unconventional route for a new experience, which led them into an unexpected trap. As they prepared to descend based on their maps, a thick, unnatural fog suddenly blanketed the mountain, completely obscuring their path. After wandering lost for over an hour, they stumbled upon the ruins of FengMen Village. The site was desolate, dilapidated houses stood empty, and the wind blowing through the cracks created moaning and groaning sounds so terrifying that no one dared to sleep inside the buildings. The team decided to pitch their tents in an open clearing, but their night was far from peaceful. One member reported seeing swaying shadows of human figures outside the tent, yet every time they checked, there was nothing but the dark, misty air. The most horrifying discovery came the next morning, when every member found bloody scratches on their bodies. Strangely, these wounds did not cause pain when touched, but they were impossible to wash away, leaving the team in a state of absolute panic. Despite the terror, the group stayed another day to explore, eventually finding a house with two massive coffins. This encounter with the physical and psychological horrors of FengMen highlights why the village is considered a forbidden zone, where the environment itself seems to mark those who intrude upon its silence. The mystery of the disappearing coffins and ancestral traditions during their stay, the expedition team discovered a house containing two imposing coffins. One was found to contain a corpse, while the other remained eerily empty. When some of the more courageous members returned later to investigate further, they were shocked to find that both coffins had completely vanished. This disappearance fueled rumors of supernatural activity, but the sources provide a rational explanation rooted in deep-seated Chinese cultural values. In Chinese tradition, returning to one's ancestral home is of the utmost importance. Even after residents move away, the old village remains their spiritual home, and it is common practice to transport the deceased back to FengMen for burial. Furthermore, a unique local custom dictates that if one spouse passes away first, they are not immediately buried. Instead, the coffin is kept in the old family home to wait for the surviving spouse so they can eventually be buried together. This explains why the coffins seen by the expedition were temporarily stored and why they had disappeared by their next visit. It is highly likely that another family member had passed, and the descendants had finally moved both coffins to their permanent resting place. While the presence of coffins in a deserted village is inherently unsettling, this mystery reveals a poignant connection between the living and the dead, where the closed gate of the village still opens briefly to welcome its former inhabitants back to their final resting place among the ancestors. The cursed Grandmaster's chair and digital anomalies among the many legends of FengMen, none are as chilling as the story of the Grandmaster's chair located in a large courtyard. It is said that an old man once sat in this chair day and night, waiting for his son to return from afar. Tragically, he passed away right in that chair before his son ever arrived. Local lore claims that anyone who dares to sit on the chair will encounter mysterious misfortune. Even more unsettling are reports that the chair possesses a mind of its own. No matter where it is moved within the village, it supposedly returns to its original position by the next morning. The chair's curse has been documented by modern visitors, most notably a group of 4 friends who took turns sitting on it for photographs. Upon returning home, they discovered a ghastly, unrecognizable human face appearing in the photos alongside them. Another visitor shared a similar experience. After printing a photo of the chair, they saw a strange woman's face staring back at them. When they attempted to transfer the image to a computer for a closer look, the file reportedly corrupted and turned pitch black. These accounts suggest that the energy of the village is not just a matter of local folklore, but something that can manifest in modern technology, leaving behind digital ghosts that serve as a warning to those who treat the village's tragic history as a mere tourist attraction. The 1963 pillow incident and the vengeful spirits, the most significant supernatural event, occurred in 1963, involving 3 young artists who visited the village to paint landscapes. Their arrival coincided with a funeral for a mother and her 2 children. Ignorant of local taboos, the artists kicked aside a funeral pillow that had been thrown into the street as part of the burial rites. This act of disrespect triggered a series of terrifying hauntings after they were assigned to stay in the very house where the deceased family had lived. The artists began hearing the crying of a child calling for its mother at midnight, and all 3 suffered from recurring nightmares of a figure in white trying to climb into their beds. The situation escalated when one artist saw a woman jump into a well, only to find the water perfectly still and the surrounding area bone dry, suggesting a spectral reenactment of a past tragedy. One member even attempted to strangle another while possessed or in a trance. Their health rapidly declined with high fevers until a village elder intervened. He explained that their illness was caused by the yin kai of the family whose funeral they had disturbed, as the family was buried near the house according to custom. Only after the artists offered prayers at the 3 graves and the village temple did their health stabilize. They fled the village immediately, never to return. This 1963 incident remains one of the most famous supernatural cases in China, cementing FengMen's status as a place where the barrier between the living and the dead is dangerously thin.